Let's now shift our attention to Ondo governorship election. Some suspected thugs, allegedly loyal to the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress, have clashed in Akure, the state capital. The incident has been confirmed to China's television by the spokesperson of the Ondo State Police Command, Teolo Ikoro, who says the confrontation began last night when the miscreants lit bonfires on the street and engaged themselves in a free-for-all. The situation was, however, brought under control by officers from a nearby police division who dispersed the warring party supporters. The Inspector General of Police has deployed the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of research and planning, Adeleye Oyebade, to administer the general security arrangement for the upcoming poll. But again, what are the thirds and why are the politicians going in the manner in which they're going on those states? Some of the fears that have been created, some of the issues that have been raised. Let's speak to some of those key stakeholders, especially in these two major political parties that have clashed. I have joining me the Commissioner for Information in Ondo State, Mr. Donald Ojogo. He joins us here in the studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Ojogo, for coming tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And from Akure is Dr. Benson Enukwume. He is the Director of Media and Communications for the PDP campaign organization. Thank you so much, Doc, for joining us tonight on the program. Let's begin by getting to know the lives of the people of Ondo State is very important. But it's very sad to see some of your supporters clash in the manner in which they have clashed. This is not the first time this is happening. It's happened in Owo. It's happened in Ondo. Now it's happening again in Akure. Why?
Well, I think, like every other person, not just as an individual, but as a government, we are very much concerned as every other responsible citizen in this country that when we are approaching very crucial elections as in this manner, that people will want to, under the guise of political thuggery, want to take advantage of the situation to unleash mayhem on the people. You discover that most of the victims are the innocent ones. And the most unfortunate aspect of this scenario is that even those unleashing violence on the people themselves inadvertently are victims. So that is where everybody has to be worried. But here again, we have found ourselves in such a very disheartening situation that we have come to politicize it, where people have decided that every little occurrence, there must be some political blend to it. The blame game has been on. We know our party, the APC, has also been pummeled for what it didn't know anything about.
So you don't know anything about the violence of today?
Yes, it is not possible. Let me tell you, Shehu, it is not possible for leaders of the party. I'm even including everybody in my party, for instance, I mean, in particular, to direct that unleash mayhem on the people. It is not done.
But it's the role of you leaders to curtail the excesses of your supporters and followers, isn't it?
Yes. On our side, it is not appropriate for us to come to national TV stations and say this is what we have done, this is what we have done. One series of security arrangements have been put in place, and I know, for one, that the governor of the state, who is perceived to be the chief security officer, because that is just on paper, has even taken very uncommon security steps, measures rather, to ensure that this is curtailed.
Right.
One, he has even cut the number of persons who follow him to campaigns. Right. And it is also not possible, let us also be clear with this, it is not possible for the governor, not even no governorship candidates who have the capacity to know who follows him to every campaign point. So leadership has a role.
Yeah, so because we have lists of issues to discuss, let me get the reaction of Dr. Benson Enukwume on the issue of violence. This is not the first time, Doc, that we're talking about this. Yourself and Mr. Ojogo here, we've talked about this similar thing, and yet it's happening. The lives of an average Ondo person is involved here.
Well, let me thank you, and I also thank the Honorable Commissioner there. At this junction, it should not fail. For every house that is built, the foundation of that house is very material. There will be no curse if there is not a cause. So it is action and reaction. And I will constantly go back to the basics. Recall about 2 months ago, the former chairman of APC in this state, Mr. Isaac Kekemeke, who was once upon a time the Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice in this state, former FSD. In fact, the gentleman has the privilege of being the first chairman of NECO, came out in a video that went viral. That he is a militant, that the party was going to fund Mr. Ika Jegede FAN, and that he has not seen anything yet. You confronted him with this fact. He said, no, he was just yabbing. You yab with AK-47, you yab that you are a militant, and that went viral. There is a cause, there is a foundation to it. So, it was on this one of your platforms that you spoke to the governor of our state, our own Arakuni, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu SA, who declared former governor of this state, Governor Dr. Olusegun Mimiko, that he is his bogus enemy for life. The reason why it is bogus enemy, nobody knows. He went further to declare the former CJ of this state, the Lord Honorable Justice Olatunji Kumuyi, as his enemy for life. And that he spoke. He said he has no regret, and that he doubts whether he will forgive them for life. Now, these are two personalities in the state. I am glad that Mr. Otogo said that the governor is the chief security officer in the state. He's the number one citizen. If the number one citizen can declare these two personalities that they are his enemy for life, and the former chairman has said he was going to make trouble, what do you expect of the younger ones to do?
Doc, let's move into some other issues relating to the factors and the issues that will determine the rest. Just a moment, Doc. Mr. Ojoko, it's going to be a very, very interesting race, isn't it? And perhaps some of the issues that have come to the table, I'm not sure that your candidate and your party thought that this race was going to look like this. I'm not sure you thought that it was going to be this tough for you getting into the race. For example, you've seen the kind of situation happen in the south, in the central. For example, you have Mr. Jegede, for example, from Akure. You have a sitting deputy governor contesting against your party from the ZLLP. Is this a threat for your principal and for your party?
Well, thank you so much for that question. I think we have never felt threatened in any form since the beginning of this contest. In the first place, I think what's the scenario, the difference in the scenarios we've seen between 2016 and 2020 is the fact that we've seen some elements of desperation. And of course, desperation can only come when certain risky decisions have been taken. And it's obvious that those in the PDP and those in the ZLP, those contests, the symbols of this contest in those other parties, they have taken a plunge of risk. So definitely there will be this element of desperation. So if at all, we are not the ones who are desperate, because we've had an opportunity to serve the people. And let me also say this. The analogy that you've drawn may not be totally correct. It is not totally correct in the sense that, recall that in 2016, it was this same scenario that played out. I mean the major contenders. Jegede, PDP, from Central, our leader, Shifolushola Oke, SAN, AD, from the South, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, SAN, from the North. So it was a three-way contest representing the Trade and Neutral District. And what will shock you is this. The governor, as candidate then, not as a sitting governor, won in 4 out of the 6 local government areas in the South. Was there a threat then? If there was no threat, then there wouldn't be a threat
All right.
anymore.
So, Mr. Ojogo,
So
just
even in the central,
yeah.
the governor won in the central. Not
Another
to talk
question
about the
that
other
they're
local
bringing
governments.
to the table is, what can your candidate and the governor show for the last 3 years that he's been in office? We'll talk about that after this break. We take another moment, everyone, and when we return, all eyes are on Ondo governorship election and the seat, which is in Alagbaka area of Akure. Who becomes the next governor gets our attention on the program tonight. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk more on the issues during this election. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, staying with us on the program. I still have Dr. Bensi Aniko of the PDP in Ondo State and Mr. Donald Ojogo, the Commissioner for Information in Ondo State of the APC. You're saying that the scenario which played out 4 years ago might repeat itself. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely. And I mean it with
the Jegede and the deputy governor, you think your candidate can defeat them at this election?
Well, it's clear where we are contesting on the tripod of hard work, performance, and integrity. That is our anchor.
What would
and
be
the
the
goodwill of the
performance
people.
for those? For example, Dr. Benson Aniko, who is on the program, had said on this program that your candidate has nothing to show for the people of Ondo State in the last 3 years in terms of work that has been done. What would you say if you mention 3 projects or 3 things that the governor or this administration has done for the people of Ondo State? What would that be?
Oh, well, I think I don't want to go into the merits of what he has said, but if the industrial hub that has employed over 4,000 workers is not an achievement, then we are sorry to say that he has missed the point. If the construction of the Ore flyover is not an achievement, then I don't know what could be determined as an achievement for any government. If the OSUTEC, now renamed the Olusegun Agagu University of Science and Technology, that was abandoned for 8 years, have been returned, have been revived, with internal roads and new blocks constructed in the south, where I come from, where Mr. Enuku comes from, where the deputy governor comes from, then it will be a misnomer for people to say that there has not been achievement. If over 400 kilometers of roads have been constructed within a space of 3.5 years in Ondo State, and people say those are not achievements, then we don't know the manner of campaign people are running.
All right.
If over 600 classrooms, primary schools have either been rebuilt, renovated, or rehabilitated, and people come here to say that nothing has happened, then something must be wrong with our electoral process.
Dr. Aniko, you've heard what Mr. Ojogo has said about the issue of performance. You have said the governor has done nothing, but he has listed some of the things that the governor has done. He has said that they will beat you the way they beat you 4 years ago. How do you
It was part of us.
How do you react to that?
Well, when you come on air and you read out achievements, nobody can immediately assess it except people on ground. The Ore Bridge, that is the flyover, true, it has been constructed, no doubt about it. But the question we ask is at what cost? If a woman is to prepare meal for 6 persons, and she says she will take 2 million to prepare the meal for 6 persons, then you ask, what kind of meal is she preparing? The Ore Bridge cost 5.6 billion. 5.6 billion. That is a bridge that is about 100 meters. Yes, true. People are using it. I drove on that bridge, but at what cost? I asked my brother, the Honorable Commissioner, you know the bypass that is to go through Okitipupa, linking to Ibokoda. Has that road been constructed? Has it been completed? Your government went ahead and constructed about 1 kilometer and used it that to have done the whole of Akure, saying that it has completed that particular bypass. The bypass that links Odiaye and Okun. This government came on board and said he was going to construct a road, a 51-kilometer road from Araromi to Lekki. Where is the road now? And he has not
Dr.
started
Nikomai,
other-
would you react to the fact that he said the same? You were on this side, on the side of the APC the last time, but he said this time around, the way they beat the PDP, they will beat them again. How do you react to that?
The scenario is different. As at that time, PDP was wearing two heads. There was the McCarthy, there was the Sheriff head. And you know that Jegede went through a lot of challenges. Just only 2 days before the election, when it came to campaign, the scenario has changed. We have tested Akere Jodu, and I tell you without controversy, we found him wanting in education, in health. Yes, on some roads, he did well, at least for all this, at least for our work. We know those ones. The road in our were done. Ask him for the road in Akoko. Ask him the road for Isua. Ask him for the road in Obadi. Ask him the road for RGD. Nothing happened.
Dr. Nikomai, just for a moment. So let's ask Mr. Ojogo now. Apart from what he has raised as issue, the question will, why should the people of Ondo State give Mr. Akeredolu a second term? The issue of Osopadek funds and how it has been managed and been raised, the hike in the tuition fees of tertiary institution, that issue has been raised. The issue of the 750 million security vote has been raised. The issue of the fact that the First Lady allegedly gets 11 million from the Ministry of Women Affairs. That issue has also been raised. How do you react to some of these issues?
Well, the totality of everything, the scenario in those states, is that when elements form themselves into an opposition bloc and believe that the only way to get to power is to continue to engage in blackmail and propaganda, it has never worked before. This is the first time somebody in opposition will come to air and say that the government has not performed. That has never been their campaign before, but it is not a surprise to us. Unless this man here is saying that the roads that are being constructed in Akura are also in Owo, that the Okala Bojuto in Ikare is also in Owo, that the one that was constructed, that was abandoned, Ayekari Rele Road, to Okitipa to link up to our area in Ilaje is also in Owo. So this misinformation have to be cleared. It is not enough for people to come to Lagos, go to Abuja and say what they feel should be said.
But
it is left
would you
for the
react to
media.
some of the issue that I've raised right now on the Osopadek
Yes,
funds,
let me
the
tell you.
tuition fees, the
Yes,
750 million security funds?
Let me start from the tuition fees. The only reason we can feel uncomfortable will be that these tuition fees charged in Ondo State compared to other states in the Southwest are higher. They must go and find out. And we have always told them, don't engage in lazy opposition. It is mere desperation. It is mere desperation. Have they taken time to find out? All the while they have said the tuition fees have been hiked. Have they found out what is charged in other states? If they had, and they had the opportunity of knowing that what we charged in Ondo State was higher, I know they would have released the documents, they would have released the content of whatever research that they did. But because they didn't have, they couldn't come. So it is one of the campaign points that they have to, but I think it's a misadventure on their part. And we believe strongly that this movement, what we have seen in Ondo State is going to be a movement.
All right, just a moment, Mr. Ojogo.
Not because of the governor, but because of the fact that the opposition, whether in the PDP or in the ZLP, or a combination of both, is too tattered, is too broken to face our own slot.
Dr. Benson Nikomai, we need to close the program. Let me get your final thoughts and reaction in 30 seconds because we need to close. Your reaction and final thought in 30 seconds.
The final word is that we are ready for the election. Let there be peace. The 750 million that the governor collects, that he should please divert that one to pay the civil servants. The one that his wife collects and his son collects, and recall the person that said this statement.
Your 30 seconds is over, Dr. Benson. Your final thought?
Yeah, well, I just feel that this time will be over. But there is nothing like 750 million naira that is being collected that they are alleging. They don't have evidence. If they have documents, they would have brought them up. Look about a ministry, Ministry of Women Affairs, where they are less than the governor's wife collects 11 million naira for monthly. The totality of the running grant for that ministry for the year is less than 20 million.
All right, we need to leave it at that.
Is that the truth?
I must sincerely thank both of you because we're out of time. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. That's our show for today. Bye-bye.